And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, Small World is one of my favorite games. And even though today I store it in this box, and in these two Plano boxes, and in the Star World Realms box, there's a lot of game here. It involves many expansions and the Small World Underground and Small World Realms. But when they did Small World, they made it for Android. It was a Kickstarter, and one of the things, the pledge levels for the Kickstarter was the Small World Deluxe, or the Designer Edition. Well, folks, this is that. Wish it had handles on the side. It really wouldn't have killed them to put handles on the side. This thing is really heavy. I want to say it was 35 to 40 pounds. And this is basically Small World plus most of the expansions, not Small World Underground or Small World Realms, but most of the regular expansions. There's a lot of stuff packed in here, but it's bigger and better. Now, this was a pledge level, and so all the people who did the pledge levels have gotten their designer editions, and I think that they have some extra ones that they will be selling eventually, but I thought you might be interested to see what's inside here, and is it worth the astronomical price? Let's talk about the rule book first. It comes with two books. You have this very nice rule book, and this rule book tells you how to play the game, all the different rules of the game, and then has a whole pile of pages at the end which basically just talk about each of the different factions. So here's the elves, and it tells you exactly how they're played and if there's any like minor things that come with them or anything that talks about them. This is a pretty nice addition to the game itself, and I believe you were able to get something like this separately. There's this special book here, the Designer Edition. This tells you how to pack the whole thing, what pieces go where, how many you have of everything, and at the end gives you the rules for the 6-player board and for the relics and places if you don't have the underground Small World game. The theme here is bigger and better. This is the board for the original Small World game. Here is the board for the new one. Well, actually, I think we should put the new one here and the old one on top of it, so you can see here that it's quite a big difference here in size. I didn't even think it was a difference until I actually compared them. You'll also notice that they are essentially the same with some minor things. If you look up here, for example, you'll see they've added a rainbow and a ship to that area. Just like little decor over here. You know, you can see that there's lights, and it's minor. There's a flock of birds flying there, so it's a little bit better, but I don't think that would matter to anybody playing the game. The game also comes with a giant 6-player board. The 6-player game, which is its own board. This one doesn't have a back to it. Let me pull out the board here for you. It's a very massive board. This board can be played with 6 players, has 8 turns on it. And when you play 6 players, you play in teams of 2. So you'll split up with the person across the table from you. You work together. Basically, you each play your own armies and things, but you're not like attacking each other, hopefully. And at the end of the game, the lower of those 2 people is your score, and whoever has highest score wins the game. You'll also notice that the new, these are the original cardboard tokens that were from the game and its expansions. Now they're wooden tokens. They have a very chunky feel to them. They feel like those little wooden puzzles that you give your kids when they're, a very young age. And here, build Mickey Mouse. They have that same kind of feel to them, and it feels pretty good when you put them in front of you. But you'll notice that they kept the artwork pretty much the same. They changed the die on the Berserk here, and that's because the new die is a black die with white spots on it, a nice big die that you can use. And there's a few other pieces that have changed. I mentioned the die, but also the turn piece is like this little golden crown now with jewels in it. It's so ridiculously overdone. But also, you remember these little pieces from the game. Those are the pieces that you have to move. Well, the way that I store them myself is in these plano boxes, because there were just so many of them. They came in their own little box, but it just didn't hold everything right. Well, now they fixed that. Each box, okay, so this is the goblin box. We know that because it says goblins on the side. It tells you what their special ability is on the box. It tells you how many there is. And then when you open up the box, there they are, and you can dump them out, and they look so good. They're not that much bigger than the original pieces, but they're wooden. You can see the difference there in how they look and feel. They fit really well on the board. I don't know if this is a sticker or printed on the wood or whatever it is, but it works really well. And just having these boxes for the pieces, you're like, hey, I need the sorcerers. And someone says, okay, here you go. Here's the sorcerers. They don't have to pull them out of the thing. I need the Amazons. Well, here they are. There are 27 unique armies in this set from the original game, the expansions, and then one very recent expansion that may have been Kickstarter only. I'm not sure, that either it was just released or is about to be released. But the 27 different armies, and each comes in their own box, plus a box for the guys who are on the board, the fallen civilization that you're destroying at the beginning of the game. Now, you may remember the money from the original game, but the way this money works is now we have these bags come with the money in them. And you can see here, these are the 10 coins, and the 5 coins are different size than that. And here's the 3 coins, and then we have the 1 coins, and they look different. But the original game, you could turn them over or upside down, and so players didn't know what you have. Well, the same thing happens here. The difference is you have a bag, and so when you get coins, you simply put them in that bag, so no one knows how much money you have. They can't even count your tokens and kind of guess, which is, I think, a big improvement. Also, this is really good, solid metal money. And then plastic pieces. Now, they didn't paint these pieces. There was a reason behind that. I wouldn't mind if they were painted, considering how expensive the whole thing was. It would have been nice had these been painted, but I understand why they didn't. But still, either way, they look really cool, though. This is a mountain, and now you'll notice that the piece fits exactly inside the mountain. It really looks well, but you can go even beyond that. If you are fortified and on a mountain, you'll notice that the castle piece fits right inside the mountain piece, which you then fit inside there. Or perhaps you want to have the troll layers. They also fit right inside there. Or the biovacking, or whatever that is. Everything fits inside everything, and so this really works out well as you place these down, and the board has a really good look for that. And there's just lots of different plastic pieces in the game. We got the pot of gold for the leprechauns, and fireballs here, and here's the dragon and the catapult. And the game also introduces artifacts and special places, which was something that was originally in Small World Underground. If you haven't played it, essentially you have to conquer like a monster, which is made up of 2 people that you have to conquer. And when you do so, you'll draw randomly, and you'll get one of these things. Like this is the bar of soap, the magical bar of soap that goes back and forth around and gives different people points. And if there's an artifact, as long as you control the artifact, you get a point. If there's a place, as long as you control that place, you'll get a point. But I mean, the models here are really incredible. I mean, take a look here at this one. This is really detailed here for such a small model. They just look really good. And again, I really feel like they should be painted. Wow. There's a lot inside that box. I think they did a great job at packing it all in there, a great job at the look and feel. Every time I play this, it's wonderful. But come on, do you need to own this? Really, you don't. Now you say, Vasel, you own it. Well, let me tell you, this is going to the Dice Tower Convention, and it's going to stay at the Dice Tower Convention. This will be a game, I think it's a great game at a convention to play. We played it live. You can go watch us playing it live, and it's a really cool game, but it's too big for my shelves. It's really expensive. That's a lot of money to spend on one game. I can see, and you might be interested in that. You might want a one-of-a-kind jewel type game in your collection. And Small World is not a bad game to pick to be that one-of-a-kind jewel. So I don't know when they're putting them up on the website, Days of Wonder, to sell them, but I know they'll have at least maybe 50 to 100 extra ones that they'll sell, but they'll probably be quite pricey. You could always go the eBay route, or you can just come to Dice Tower Con and play this one, or I'm sure they'll show up at other cons as time goes by. But this is a neat thing, don't get me wrong, and I just wanted to show it to you guys so you can see what it was like, and yeah, probably most people will stick with the regular version of Small World, right? That makes a lot of sense, but this is still pretty good.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.